Hello and welcome to Hull Seahawks Behind the Curtain, and it is episode 16. After Matty Davies' season preview last week, we said we had a pretty elite duo joining us on this episode, and here they are. We've got both Balmer and Bobby Chamberlain. Thanks very much for joining us, fellas.
Cheers,
no problem.
Of course, we'll kick off where we normally do, but in terms of junior hockey and sort of getting into hockey, you've got a bit of a shared story in that one. So you came through a pretty similar age group in the whole junior system, so you know each other, of course, pretty well. Any memories from that sort of time and sort of, how you both getting into hockey and then sort of playing together, through quite a young age to once again meet at the Seahawks, 15 or so years later?
Go on, Deck.
I think it was under 10s we first started playing together, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then
I think it might be second year, something like that. First year when we won nationals, the 2 years in a row, I think.
Yeah.
And then, we played together our full career until under 16s, I believe. I went over to Bradford and Bobby left the country and decided to go to Canada. We played 10s, 12s, 14s, all through conference together, all through England, GB.
Yeah, GB won it, yeah.
Yeah, we know each other fairly well, you could say.
No, certainly. So any good you talked about sort of the championship winning years, Bobby, but good memories for yourself as well. But then you obviously made the jump to sort of Canada and the US. Sort of thoughts behind that one? Just a quick one.
Yeah, I'll just go back to start. Yeah, so we won conference a couple of times, obviously under 10s, I think 12s we might have won as well. And then we won the gold with GB, didn't we? Was it 20s?
20s, yeah, in Estonia.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, so we've won quite a bit. So yeah, it's good winning it. But then I went at 15 over to Canada and went to prep school. So that was good. It's a good experience. Then come back, and that's when started playing with Matty.
Of course, we had a very brief chat, I think, when you signed, Bobby, about your relationship. It's maybe something we'll touch on a little bit more later. But what I want to ask you next is, of course, Bobby, you spent your time, obviously, you were at the Stingrays, the Pirates years, a few good years in MK, as of late as well. That's sort of, where you've left off before this Seahawks move. How was your time in MK? Of course, you've always been, a very, very good side there, played with some very, very good players. But obviously, Matty talks very highly of you last year about how he'd have loved to have you back here last year, but it just wasn't possible at the time.
Yeah, things just didn't work out. I think you all know, the ins and outs of it or whatever. But it was a good team there. They've been around a lot of years, haven't they? So they've got that strong fan base, so they can, attract the top end players, more than other teams. So no, it was a good setup there. The owner was really good. Well, the owners, really looked after me. But obviously, when it's time to come home, it's time to come home, innit? So here we are.
You feel that pull dragging you back to the Hull Ice Arena. Of course, the last trip at the Hull Ice Arena in anger would have been that home game just before the end of the season. Ruffled a few feathers. Was that just a bit of a parting gift? As you were leaving MK, you must have at that point known what was coming.
Well, Matty was at the hospital when he just Sam just had Mabel, so yeah, he wouldn't
have done that if I was there. I said to him, mate, you can't be doing that. He's going to be on your line next year.
He texted me before the game. He said, "Well, didn't you?" Saying that.
Yeah, I texted him literally from the hospital room, and I said, "Just don't do anything daft tonight." I just knew that he could, He loves it, doesn't he? Because he loves getting the crowd and that going, and it's just how he is. So, it's good. It's all part of it, isn't it? And that's why the fans love Bob.
No, certainly.
Mainly.
Oh, it's going to be good for me and Deck in there. Let me tell you.
Yeah. It's going to be fun year.
Oh, certainly will. We wouldn't have it any other way. Talking of fun years, the Deck, of course, we've mentioned a million times before. Last year, was a difficult one, but obviously with particularly the whole core that's come back into the side, of course, Lee Bonner, Bobby as well, and then even like a youngster like Finn, all returning back to hometown. is that exactly what this team needs? Is to give it a bit of a boost? You know, imagine that's going to help sort of the locker room side of things as well, having more and more local lads.
Yeah, I mean, no matter where you play, obviously it's always great winning, but it's I think it's just a different feeling winning with your hometown where you played your juniors, and with the players that you come up playing your junior years with. It's just a different feeling, really, because I wouldn't say you're really closer, but you kind of are, because how you have played with each other a long time. So just the extra feeling of winning with that town on your shirt is, it's just different.
And of course, in terms of, we'll break down the team a little bit more closely and sort of how that is looking. As Declan, I'm going to come to you first, and about, because there's a lot of changes to that decor. We spoke many a time on the podcast, on air as well, and even on the live streams later last year, about the minutes you were having to put in because of injuries and everything else that went on. Hopefully that won't be so much the case this year. Matty might actually be able to give you a little breather every now and then. 35, 40 minutes a night, it can't be good. As much as you, I'm sure, at times you enjoyed it. How do you feel that decor's looking this year? Of course, Liam Danskin coming down from Solway. Brock Bartholomew looks like a star. And Tom Barry as well, bringing in that little bit of experience. It looks pretty solid back there.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I'm aiming for 60 minutes this year, I think, so. Oh, 50, 55, I'm going to go for this year, I reckon. But no, I mean...
He would as well if he could.
Oh, easy, man, definitely. Yeah, I don't like saying it, but it's definitely been needed, the big change in our decor that we've had. I mean, last year we had some good players, but I just think the players that we've signed this year are just going to add a total different aspect to our defence. Like you mentioned, Danskin he's been down the last couple of weeks skating, and it's the first time I've really seen him. But I mean, he's impressing me. He skates well. He's a big kid. Looks like he's going to be a great player. Barry, obviously, we've played against him for the last couple of years. We know what to expect from him, and yeah, it's just our D's just going to be a total different decor this year. Brock looks like he could possibly be one of the best D men in the league easily. Size, how well he skates, his stick handling. He'll put up good numbers for us, definitely.
Something you're excited then to have alongside you, but also me and Matty did speak last week about how it's going to just help Jordan back there as well, isn't it? Because he had a lot of pucks on net last year. Sort of, if you do your job, it makes his a little bit easier too.
Yeah, definitely. Last year he had to make the first save, and then he also had to make the second and the third and the fourth some games. Bobby will be able to tell you how easy it was being around the net and just picking up rebounds against us and getting those second, third, fourth shots off. But with a more experienced, better decor, as long as he makes that first save, then we can do our job and stop him from having to make the second save.
And then, Bobby, I'm going to come across to yourself. Of course, you've not been on the ice in anger with a lot of the lads yet. Of course, you've had some skating during the summer, but are you excited with the way that forward lines are sort of shaping up this year? Of course, two imports of Emil and Bobby, and then there's a lot of depth, beyond that as well, isn't there?
Yeah, to be honest, I was quite impressed with some of the forwards and D, to be fair. Barry and Danskin both was a lot better than I thought. I didn't really know too much about Danskin. Yeah, he's a big body, like Dex said. I think he'll be good, especially like in front of the net and like on the kills, stuff like that. So it just helps like people like Dex who don't have to go like every time. You might be able to have a little bit of a rest.
Nah,
you don't like that, but no, yeah, and obviously the forwards, like even like Finn, obviously we grew up with him as well. He's a couple of years younger than us, but yeah, he's a good dynamic player, skates really, really well. And he's a good player, yeah, and it just brings like the depth throughout the lineup, just makes it stronger and stronger. So there's going to be a lot of battles within the team and obviously within other teams as well, which is good.
I'm going to come to yourself, Matty, for the first time on the show. We didn't actually get to speak to you yet. But I say, with two of the more experienced players in the squad, joining us here. It must be good for you as a head coach to see they're excited, with the team you've put together. In terms of personnel, but in terms of the shape of and the balance of it as well. Because you rely on these players as leaders in the team, and if they're sharing that same vision, excited, ready to kick on, that's all you need in your locker room leaders, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, these two, they hang my hat on these two. Like these, if these two are good, then we have a good chance most nights in and out of on and off the ice. Same thing. Like they're going to set the tempo in training and games. Just being sort of competitive. We spoke about this before when when it was Pirates. It was nasty in training at times, and we need that back. Not necessarily going too far, but it's about look at that. Essentially, me and Joe, we pay these lads to train. It's not about just the games. It's about, in my way of thinking, is you turn up and you train hard, and the games will take care of themselves. But it's one thing we need to get right this year, and these two are massive part of it. Obviously, they're both good lads, and I call them both my mates. But at the end of the day, they both know they've got jobs to do and to lead the team. It's on them two and a couple of others to set the standard in there. They know how much has gone into this, and there's no, I've said it a few times to all of them, but we're not messing about this year. It's not. I keep saying that, and people probably just go, "Oh yeah, he's saying it again," but generally not. And we're not here. We're not going to accept, like we did last year, in terms of we just can't get the plays. We aren't doing this. It's not happening anymore. Lads have to turn up and do the jobs, and these two are a prime example of making people do the jobs and making sure everyone's doing it right. And look, for me, like last year, it was just a disjointed team at times. We just didn't quite have enough depth in ability, and that's what we've spoke about many times. But look, it was a case of, it's not just looking about the league and seeing who's better than who and who's got what. I wanted who I wanted, regardless of whoever else is anywhere else. I got exactly who I wanted. Went from early on and just did it, just got it done, because I know the makeup of every one of these players. Mainly, there's only a couple of players that I don't fully know what they're like, simply just because we've never seen them play. And all right, a lot of it rides on them boys. If when they come in, if they're as good as I think they are, then I know what I've got in that room. I know what the lads are like as people, and they won't accept anything but winning.
And it's that sort of mentality, of course. Bobby, I'll come to yourself for this one as well. Of course, you were with Matty at the Pirates, and you had that mentality and you put it into practice, didn't you? And do you feel that coming back already? Of course, it's a bit early to say, we're not going to go out there and claim, leagues, cups, playoffs yet, but that mentality of that being the one and only goal, is that back in the camp?
Definitely is, yeah. And it spreads quick as well. Just within a few training sessions, people just switch the mindset and become like, this is what we're going to be again. Like, we're going to be hard to play against. No one's coming in there on a Sunday. It's not an easy night. Like, let me tell you that. So, yeah, we're coming to win. It's gonna be a tough year for in-house, but also other teams as well coming to our building. It's gonna be good. But yeah, even just the practices, just slowly feeling the tempo, getting better. Everyone's competing, so there's a lot of jobs where people want to fit in different areas on the team. So there's a lot of good, healthy competition, forward and D. So it's going to be good, but it's just getting that mindset back, that every night we need to be winning these games. We don't lose at home, and we go on the road and we put it to teams. And Leeds last year was obviously the best team, and like Leeds and Sheffield, they're going to be our rivals this year. And the good thing is we've got them both in pre-season, so let's see where we're at. We've been doing a lot of talking, haven't we? So let's see if we can walk the walk, and let's see what they're about in Leeds.
Certainly, there's no better measuring stick than going up against the league and playoff champions, is there? Dex, just coming back to yourself, we've talked a little bit about skating during the summer, healthy competition, as Bobby just mentioned there. And you've picked on a couple already, such as Liam Dansky in particular, but has anyone else sort of, pricked your ears in practice of, these lighter summer sessions? Maybe even some of the, the existing players who've stayed on from last year. Has anyone made any strides, maybe in the younger players that you've already noticed?
Yeah, I mean, Owen Broughton, he was a great player for us last year, especially at his age. Playing at that age, and it's not easy playing in a league full of men who have played 10, 15 years at senior level, playing your first year and he had a good year for himself last year, but over the summer, seeing him in Matty's gym and just seeing how hard he's working, and then on the ice, he's looking a lot better already. He's looking. He looks like a man now. He was still a bit young last year, but this year he looks like a total different person.
Yeah,
filling out that size, perhaps.
Yeah.
I want to come back to, well, this one's maybe to all three of you, really. Of course, Matty, we started talking a bit about it last week. Bobby actually just touched on it a moment ago about teams coming down to the Hull Ice Arena on a Sunday night and not coming in for an easy one. And he coined that term, heavy metal hockey. Always on the forecheck. We've got to make sure that it's fast, aggressive hockey. Finishing off hits. It's that idea of, say, you want teams dreading coming to the Hull Ice Arena. You want us in form, playing good hockey, but hard, quick hockey that's going to make them, extremely frustrated, tired, making them make mistakes and giving us, the best opportunity possible every night at home. Because I say, home games last year were a bit up and down at times, weren't they? We've got to say that. Sometimes, particularly with the slow starts in the first periods as well, that can't be, letting teams get a foothold in these. And by playing that style of hockey, it just eliminates that straight away.
Yeah, it's one of the big things that we need to address, and we have addressed that in terms of bodies and just having more bodies. We spoke about it, but when you can roll lines, we said before, Telford always seem to do it right. The way they can just keep coming all year instead of being up and then losing it towards the end. The way I'm looking at this whole season is not just this start. I know there's a lot of talk about the Leeds and the Sheffield thing, but when I actually put my head on about looking at the whole picture, it's about playoffs and Coventry for me. So it's playing the right way to get to that point where we've still got legs. And yeah, the fact we've got 4 lines and 6D is the reason for that. And we're going to change how we're playing this year. And that's obviously a lot to do with the numbers, but just how mobile we are at the back as well now. And that was the biggest change for me that I needed to address, in making sure every one of them players can get around the ice and, put pressure on immediately on teams, or the likes of players that we've seen come into our rink and dominate, which is difficult to watch. Again, we talk a lot about this, and we're talking a lot in general, but at the end of the day, it's a case of us. We've got to stamp our authority on what we're doing. Back.
You're back again.
Yeah, we've got to stamp our authority on what we're doing and the way we want to play. The lads, we've got 2 weeks coming up. That's going to be really good, and I think some of the lads are going to be a little bit, not shocked on how we are. I speak to Deck about ways we're going to play and stuff like that, and we talk a lot about it, but it's getting everyone to buy in. You hear that phrase all the time, buying in, but it's so true. And you can't have one person that's wanting to do their own thing, and it makes everything else disjointed. People have to buy in for the team instead of for themselves. And we saw at the end of last year, we probably saw a little bit of, the latter in terms of people wanting to maybe look like they could come out of something looking better than what, at the end of the day, you're bottom of the league. So it's really irrelevant what happens. This year again, it's a case of, we're going to be a specific type of team, and it'll be boring for the lads to hear me talk about it, but it's the way it is. So it's the way I see us winning. We might not be the most skilled in the league. I think we know that is. But we'll be the hardest working team. We'll be the most structured, in my opinion, this year, where we're going to play a real way a lot. And we have a lot of talent up there as well that can score, and that's part of it. But also, again, like I've said, we've got Mobile D that can hurt teams, and we're going to use that. So it's exciting. It's exciting times, really, for everyone, because I think it's going to change people's view on watching us, which is, with my owner's hat on, is what we need. Me and Joe have, put a lot into this. We need fans to come watch us play, so these lads can still, do what they want to do for now and years to come.
Of course, there's already a lot of excitement, from long-term fans, but also some newer fans I've heard, already excited, to get down for the Leeds home game, Sunday, 10th of September. We've got to make sure we actually pack the house for that one. Coming back to yourself, Jack and Bobby, of course, there was the news about a month or so ago as well that obviously you will be training at least with the Manchester Storm at times throughout the year. You're on a two-way deal with them, and your schedule's given. You will hopefully get some Elite League game time as well. Deck, yourself first, of course. You've spent a lot of time with the Manchester Storm a few years ago. Excited to be back and with the opportunity of playing Elite League again?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Obviously, like you said, I played with them for 3 years, so I already know Ginner and a few of their core guys, Dallas, Critchlow. I know how they play, and I think one of the biggest things for it is with me and Bobby being able to go there. It's being able to go there, see how sort of the Elite League teams are playing, and sort of bring that back to our own team, and get, obviously we're older guys, but we can get some you're still always learning, so we can use a lot of their experienced guys, get a few pointers, bring it back to our younger guys, and it's not just going to help me and Bobby ourselves, it's also going to help a few of the other players in our team.
And of course, Bobby, I'll throw it across to yourself as well. If I remember correctly, you were on a two-way with Belfast last year. Is that correct? Yeah. Of course, it's with a Storm this year. You're just excited, for the extra ice times. That's always a key, isn't it? So working with, as Deck said, with some, very, very experienced, and high quality players, always going to be beneficial.
Yeah, that's it. Manchester's a good setup. It's not too far from us either. Just going down there, getting some practice in, maybe get some game time in, and just getting used to that tempo and bringing it back, and just getting the experience, and just playing the right way, and just having good people obviously there and in Hull as well. So it's going to be it's going to be good. It's going to be interesting how we balance it all. There's a lot of games, they're playing midweek, we're playing a couple midweek, weekends, whatever. It's just, whatever works, for Matty and whatever he says, and at the time how man and Deck's bodies are feeling or whatever, and how things are going. We'll just, take it week by week or whatever, and see how it goes.
Yeah, just to throw it across to you, Matty. Bobby's exactly right, and we'll take it week by week. There'll be no decisions made well in advance on these ones, but it's good to have that option, isn't it? Of these two getting, potentially some game time. Certainly good that they're getting the extra ice time, but in terms of as a club as well, it's good to have that relationship within the Elite League side, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. It's we've had it last year with a couple of teams, and it's always good to have. I've spoke to Ginner, like Deck said, he's a good guy, and he gets it. He likes these two both. Finity as well. He's always like Bobby. So yeah, and it's a case of just trying to keep good relationships everywhere, really, because you just never know what'll come. And and it works for both sides as well. And obviously the Finn situation is we managed to get it done with him, and with that we sort of give something back that way. So look, both of these two could play in the Elite League, no doubt, and that's the whole point. Is trying to show that we're the second league, but if these two wanted to, they could go and play in that league. And it's just the way things are, where it's just tough to do that with the import level and stuff. So it's good for them two to go and actually prove to themselves they're still good enough to do it. But yeah, it's like I say, it's extra ice, it's good relationships, and like they say, like when Finn came to train last year, you just saw the difference in tempo. That even in warm-up drills, it's just crisper. There's no, when you train at that level, it's different, because their lads are, they're coming from, the AHL coast, different leagues in Europe. It's a very different tempo in training, and the way the puck gets snapped about, you're not missing passes, and backhands are going all over the gaff. It's solid, and it's done right, and the level is, it's a lot higher. So yeah, it's good for them. Get there, and if they play, they play, and if they don't, then it's fine. We just deal with it, and first and foremost, they're our players, and they're here to win games for us.
100%. And that's a message that everyone sort of, we do need to get out there, that it is this a really, really good relationship, between the clubs, and it's beneficial for us as a club. Moving on now to sort of the season ahead. Dec, I'm going to come to you first on this one. Expectations and thoughts sort of on the team this year, for the season ahead. It's very clear, we want to be pushing up that table. We're very, very excited about the roster, but sort of a little bit more of a deep dive on sort of what do you expect from the club this year?
And you said about the roster. I think the biggest thing for our team from last year to this year is obviously the import level got put up to 3. The North American sort of rule, that was kind of so a lot of the teams have gone the North American route now. They've all improved their imports. There's some very good imports in this league, and I think the imports that we've got could potentially be the best out of the lot. But the biggest thing that we've upgraded this year that a lot of teams haven't is our Brit core. The Brits that we have in our team could walk onto basically any team in the league. So I think just looking at our roster and the sort of, like Matty said, the sort of style we're going to play this year and how we're going to play our year out is, we've got one expectation, and that's win trophies. That's the one and only expectation I have for this year, is to win the league, win playoffs, win cup. I want all 3.
Bobby, I'm going to come across to yourself for this one. So I'm sure that's, you'd echo pretty much what Dec said there. That's the sort of feeling amongst the group. So no point just asking you to, repeat that sort of thing. But who else you got your eye on the rest of the league? We sort of, share this one between the 3 of you. Of course, Dec's mentioned there's some very, very good imports coming into the league. There's a lot of teams that have had quite a heavy lot of changes as well. And of course, the introduction of a new team in Solway and losing Basingstoke. So who else have you got your eye on?
I think Solway will be decent. I'm not sure on their depth. I'm not really been following much to do with them, to be honest. But for me, I think Swindon have made a lot of good changes. If they could have kept Kelly on D, there would have been a serious problem, because I think he's a good D man. He's what they've been missing the last few years. So I think Swindon will be good. Leeds obviously got some of the best Brits, and where they just get the imports to slot in there like last year, and with Gospel, they're a proper team. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see the teams around the league. But let's be honest, you just got to take care of number 1. As long as we're well prepared and worry about ourselves, then that's all we can do.
Right, you got a little bit of a nod of approval there. Is that sort of the thing you want to hear? Of course, there's always going to be one eye on the teams around us, but as long as minds are focused on ourselves, that's the number 1, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. I think the parity is really good this year. I think with Basingstoke going, I think the Bees have obviously they've probably taken a couple of their players to add depth to them. Look, you never know until you see guys play and how they gel. He's right. I think Swindon are going to be a lot better this year. Welly playing with someone he's played with before. Interesting there.
Billing as well, going there is good.
Yeah, big signing for them. Peterborough always good. That'll be interesting first game. Slav, good coach. He gets them playing the right way in a disgusting rink. And then, like you say, Solway. I think, look, Solway have signed some good players, but this league is, we saw last year how difficult it is to come into this league. You can sign players from all over the place, but you've got to get on that bus and travel down south and do the hard yards. And until they do that, it's tough to say. But yeah, good club, and I'm sure they'll be fine. But he's right. We've just got to look after ourselves. There's a lot of unknowns this year. I'll just add in one import in general and how that looks. There's a few teams with D-men. We've never seen that before. I'm expecting power plays to be a lot better.
Can you have 3 of them on?
Yeah. You don't have to have anyone. So yeah, that's the real interesting point for me, is how the D slot into this sort of new league, I guess. And we've always had a shortage in top D men. In Britain, it's just how it is. There just isn't as many top British D men in general. Elite leagues say the same thing. It's hard to find. So this extra import, and if people have gone down the D-man route, I think it's a smart decision. I think you're going to probably see, some, like I said, power players are going to see benefit. And just in general, like how the whole league is just stepped forward another year. The crowds are as good as I've seen them for a long time. And I think this league's getting some real momentum. And, from sort of the back end of it, everything, it's only going one way, and it's going up. I've mentioned it before, but this league is doing the right things, in my opinion, and the way they're building sort of around it and keeping everything solid, not jumping the gun and going down too many imports and making it unattainable for other teams down there, because that's what people forget. Is, like Bobby said there earlier about MK. MK have obviously got the most fans, the most money, let's say that. But you've got to keep the parity in the league, which makes the league a better place to play for all these lads. There's no good having 2 teams that run away with it. It's no good for anyone. This league this year is going to be all right, and I think everyone in the league has improved generally, or if not, they're an unknown because they don't know what their imports are like. So yeah, it's interesting to look around. It's more my job than these boys. These have just got to look after what they're doing on the ice. They shouldn't even care about any other teams. I never did when I was playing. All I cared about was passing to someone so they could shoot and it goes in the net, and that's it. So yeah, we'll do our thing, and we'll get fit, and we'll be out there. So.
And talking of getting out there, it's just 2 weeks now until the Seahawks are back out on the ice. Pre-season friendly, I say they're never friendly against Leeds, are they? It's a Yorkshire rival. Away Saturday the 9th of September, home Sunday the 10th of September. Looking forward to it, fellas. Back on the ice in anger.
Go on, Dick.
Yeah. I haven't. To be honest with you, I haven't looked forward to a season as much as I'm looking forward to this year in a long while. I mean, yeah, I can't wait to get on the ice for them first game, especially that first home game. It's gonna be some night.
Certainly will be some night if you haven't got your tickets. they will be available very, very shortly. Keep your eyes peeled on social media for how to get down to the rink. Sunday, the 10th of September, be a 5:30 p.m. face-off against the Leeds Knights. Make sure you're ready because the Seahawks are coming. Make sure you like, follow, share, and subscribe to Hull Seahawks Behind the Curtain. We've got more and more planned, for the end of pre-season, and then there's some very, very special features coming as we head into the start of the season against Peterborough. Thanks very much for joining us to episode 16 with Matty Davies, Declan Balmer, Bobby Chamberlain, and make sure you tune in next week to Behind the Curtain.
Cheers, mate.